This is a lecture from Open Tuition. To benefit from the lecture, you should download the free lecture notes from opentuition.com.
So back to our notes, and we're looking at the two accounting schemes that TX UK exam will test at some point. They're both available to small businesses. And now the cash accounting scheme is what it says it is. It enables the trader to account for output VAT on a cash basis. This is normally beneficial where an extended period of credit is given to customers because it automatically gives you bad debt relief instead of having to wait for that 6-month period. Disadvantages is that the input VAT can only be recovered when the payments are made. So it's like a cash basis for the same as it is for income tax purposes. Some illustrations here of how that works. Violet gives its customers a 30-day credit period that pays for most of its expenses in cash. She wants to know the conditions she must satisfy before she will be permitted to use the cash accounting scheme and the implications for using it. So there's not a lot of maths with this, so we're looking probably at multiple choice questions on rules rather than cash. So to operate the scheme, she must have a turnover that doesn't exceed 1.35 million. So it's definitely for small traders. And they must be up to date with their VAT returns and payments. So no penalty points, none of those points that are counting towards the information that we've just been dealing with. The scheme will result that the tax point becomes the date when the payment is received, because we're on a cash basis, don't forget, which will delay the payment of output VAT, but also provides automatic bad debt relief if they decide not to pay. Then the cash expenses can be recovered as and when those payments are made. You can stay there until you're £1.6 million. Then you can't be in the cash accounting scheme. Now, there is an annual accounting scheme where you only make one VAT return a year, but you do have to make payments on account. Okay, let's have a look at that, how that works. Crocus wants to know the advantages of the annual accounting scheme. Again, this is multiple choice question. If you get it, not as much as the other two, perhaps. Rules. Turnover on Crocus is 450,000, so they can apply to use the scheme provided the taxable turnover doesn't exceed the same figure. Notice the same figures. So you only have to learn it once, thank goodness for that. Again, you must be up to date, same rule. Okay, same rules. Okay, now, so this is why it's different. These two are the different ones. Under the scheme, one VAT return a year, and obviously you can understand that because it's called the annual accounting scheme, and it's due 2 months as opposed to 1 month after the end of the year. Then you have to make 9 monthly payments on account, each being 10% of the previous year's VAT, months 4 to 12 of the period, and then you make a balancing payment when you send in the return. Okay, or you can pay quarterly, but basically you would have to pay monthly for that. The other one is what's known as the flat rate scheme. So this is optional, and it simplifies the way that small businesses calculate their VAT. So instead of claiming your output and your input, deducting your input from your output and then basically paying the balance over to the revenue, you use a percentage. Now that flat rate percentage will be given to you in the exam, and you basically charge that on your figures. So again, turnover. The scheme can be used if expected turnover for the next 12 months does not exceed, this is a very small amount, and you can stay in it until you get to 30. Under the flat rate scheme, the business calculates its VAT liability by simply applying the flat rate percentage, which will be given to you, to the total income inclusive of VAT and any exempt supplies, which removes, as I said, this need for output-input VAT. Okay, the VAT rate percentage is applied to the gross total income figure with no input VAT being recovered. The percentage varies according to the type of trade of the business involved, and it will be given to you in an exam. Okay, so here's an example of how that works. And what we're going to do is have a look at an illustration to show you how that works, because that just makes it so much easier if you can see the illustration. So we have two illustrations here. A, Snowdrop Limited has annual sales of 120,000, standard rated to the general public. Standard rated expenses are 6,000. These figures are inclusive of VAT. Now, the flat rate percentage has been given to them. It depends on the trade, and you don't have to worry about that. It's in the legislation, but you don't have to worry about that. You will be given the percentage. So what you do is you work out what you would normally deal with, which is output VAT less input VAT, which is what's been done here. So this is the normal basis. The output VAT of 120 and the expenses. So this is the VAT that is payable. Then you use the flat rate scheme. If you use the flat rate scheme, then the VAT will be the turnover at 15%. So there's a saving of £1,000. That's the sort of thing that you might be asked to do in an exam. And obviously it's very much simpler because there's no need to issue VAT returns, because obviously the VAT, well, you would issue a return because you'd pay it that way through the scheme, but you don't have to do the invoices. It's so much simpler to do, but obviously you've got to have a very small turnover. So here we go. Annual sales of 96, of which 50% is standard rated and 50% is zero rated. All of the sales are to VAT registered businesses. The company's standard rate expenses are 30,000. Figures are inclusive of VAT. Relevant percentage is only 6%. Normal basis. So you're going to have to do both. Normal basis, the output VAT is only on 50% of those sales, because only 50% of them are standard rated. And then you've got the input VAT on the expenses of 30,000. So they're only paying £3,000 of VAT on those income and expenditure on a normal basis. Now, if they use the flat rate scheme, look how much the VAT's gone up, which means that it probably would not be applicable for them, not beneficial, because they're going to have to pay extra VAT, which they don't want to have to do. A couple of smaller topics, again, less important. Okay, the three things that are really important in this chapter: registration and deregistration, the accounting schemes, the three of them, the cash accounting, the annual, and the flat rate. So that's the second one. And then the third one is, it's gone straight out of my head. And the third one is working out the VAT, working out the output and the input VAT. These two minor topics not so important. So this is about group registration, which you are more than capable of reading through. And again, there are advantages and disadvantages to being in a group. You don't need me to read it to you because you're more than capable of reading it yourself. And as I say, it rarely comes up. Trading overseas, the same sort of thing. Now we are in the UK no longer a member of the EU, so there's no difference in the VAT treatment for transactions between the EU and the UK and between the UK and the rest of the world. Okay, and again, for tax purposes for this exam, only these rules are applicable. So just read through those. Fairly straightforward, doesn't come up very often. Let's have a look at the example, which you can read, and you can then have a look at the model answer to ensure that you understand. So BW is UK VAT registered, makes only taxable supplies. It acquired £12,000 of goods from a supplier in the US and £20,000 from Germany. In the same quarter, it made sales of £50,000 to a registered customer in France and £10,000 of goods to a business in Australia. Discuss the VAT implications. So read the notes and just have a swift look through that and look at the model answer, because as I say, it doesn't come up very often in the exam. Okay. Exam technique. It is going to form about 10 marks in an exam. So that's going to get some multiple choice questions, 1 or 2 of those, so that's going to be 4. And then you'll get 4, 5 or 6 marks in either a section B or a section C. So let's have a look at these multiple choice questions. So Lucy Limited received an order for goods on the 20th of October 2023. The goods were delivered to the customer on the 20th of December 2023, and she sent an invoice on the 15th of January when the customer paid on the 5th of February. This is all about the tax point. So the basic tax point is when they were delivered. Okay. That's overridden either by an actual before or after, if you remember rightly. If the tax point, an invoice and payment is received before. So when was the invoice was issued after? On the 15th of January, and the client paid on the 5th of February. So the basic tax point would be that one, because that is overridden and it's more than the number of days. Okay, VAT multiple choice question number 2. Vicky ceased trading on the 17th of June. For each of the following statements concerning her responsibilities in relation to VAT, select whether it is true or not. She should notify the revenue that she ceased to trade by the 30th of July. Okay, that is false. She must do it within 30 days, which is the 16th of July. She must account for output VAT on the value of the non-current assets and inventory held at the date of deregistration and on which a deduction of input VAT has been previously claimed, unless this results in a liability below £83,000. That is also false, simply because she must account for it, but the liability limit is not 83 but 1,000. Okay. Section B, you could get a full VAT question for 10 marks and no multiple choice questions. Now, a section B has a scenario where you've got a lot of information, and then there are 5 2-mark multiple choice questions. So if it comes up in section B, there's your 5 multiple choice questions, so you're not going to get anything in section A. But then if it's in section C, it'll only form part of the question either for a company or a sole trader.